to 90 between TikTok and Facebook, but there was no ability for me, Gary V, especially with my cursing and my style, for me to really reach under 12. And I kind of viewed VeeFriends as a vehicle that I was gonna be able to use to get even younger down the funnel. And I'm sure for the many people here who are either parents or have been parented, which is everyone, you know, if you can start forming good behaviors at 3, 4, 5, 6, you're gonna have a much bigger impact. There's a lot of work that many of us have done here through exercise and therapy and meditation and reading and changing our circles to unwind some of the negative things in our life. So I think there's a really massive, I'm not sure there's a bigger impact in the world than being a parent. And I think the next thing you can do is impact the youth. And so I have extreme ambitions with VeeFriends, both commercially and selfishly. I want to build a very big business and build a next Marvel, Disney, something of that nature, but a lot selflessly. I think we can leave very good deposits. And I would argue that this kid's book is the first kind of real significant flag in the ground of trying to leave a positive impact.
That's a great answer, thank you. It's so interesting because last night I was at the event that you did at Barnes & Noble, and you talked a lot about impacting kids and, you know, making a positive difference. And you talked a lot about the significance of meeting in the middle.
Yes.
You want to talk about why you think that's such an important message to give to kids?
Yeah, I actually think it's a more important message to speak to adults about. I think adults have done a remarkable job of not being in the middle. I think what's actually happening right now in our society is politicians have successfully made us become very edge. We've become fully red or blue. The room for purple has become very challenging in a world where actually in real life, almost everyone's actually some shade of purple. And so I think that's dangerous. I think it's negative. I think it leads to a lot of things in humanity, and then even things I'm passionate about. Let's talk about business. I think anytime that you're over-indexing too far to the left or right on anything, that there's a problem. And I know that anything that has not worked for me as a human or as an entrepreneur has been when I've been out of balance, when I've been too far to a direction or the other direction. And so I think the middle is the special place. I think it's important. In this book that all of you had, that I hope you read with a young one, it's the story of Patient Pig and Eager Eagle. I think patience, you know, it's interesting, as Gary V, I put out a lot of content. One of the things that most triggers people in a funny way, I have so many go-getters and go hard and hustle and work hard. When I talk about patience, a lot of people really struggle with it because they mishear me. When they hear the word patience, they hear complacency, maybe even to the extreme laziness. To me, patience is imperative. If you want to build anything meaningful, you know, a relationship, a business, it requires an enormous amount of patience. But like the story in the book goes, when Patient Pig is too patient, she starts being late and misses the game. Eagerness is something I have plenty of. You know, I'm passionate about it. I love it. I love going at it. I'm very eager to accomplish and to leave a positive mark. But when you're overly eager, you can become sloppy. If you don't cross your T's and dot your I's, you can be vulnerable. And so, you know, it's a really fun book because I would argue being eager and being patient are beautiful traits, but what the book is trying to do, predominantly for the parents that are reading it, and hopefully leaving a deposit for the kids for the future, is saying even good attributes, if they're out of whack and too extreme, become vulnerabilities.
That's great, thank you. So, you know, I think so many parents, you know, myself included, are really trying to teach our kids, right? The lessons to help them be successful in the world, the things you need to be good at, the things that are core to, you know, reaching your goals, right? In life. You know, you run a 2,000 person organization, you've seen it all. So what do you think the key things are? Obviously patience, eagerness are key traits, but what are really the key traits that you see and you try to teach your kids about being successful in the world?
I believe your relationship with losing is the greatest indicator of how you're gonna navigate life. So I had a very eventful morning this morning. I